Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Unscripted. You know the deal, the podcast where nothing's curated, nothing's off limits, and we talk about everything being connected. We're here to pull back the curtain on wellness and talk about the things that women whisper about, worry about, and sometimes walk through alone. So, grab your favorite drink. I got my coffee ready. Grab your cozy socks, your fully expressed self, and let's begin. And today we are talking about all things related to symptoms. As I was kind of preparing for this discussion, I was trying to decide if I want to go big, if I want to go like granular, but we're gonna be a three-ring circus of symptoms today. So how are we doing today, ladies?
Great. How are you?
Doing good. Trying to think, nothing like super crazy happened this week. But actually, I had a really good conversation with a colleague of mine about symptoms. So maybe like as we're kind of going through the conversation and stuff, it might come up. But if we're gonna kind of just go ahead and dive in, I think I always want to talk about like what's being talked about, what's already kind of out there and how we feel about it, what the message is currently saying in terms of symptoms and maybe what needs to be like the redirection or like the refocus. So what do you guys think is the biggest like misconception that the general public or that people have about symptoms today? I see Jessica with her her pensive smile. She said, "Girl, that's a whole nother TED talk." Like,
That they're isolated, that one thing causes one thing.
Hmm.
All this symptom care, like, oh, I have a headache, take an aspirin, it's better. Like, no, why are you having a headache? Are you dehydrated? Did you skip a meal? Like, what is it? And I think we all think this one plus one equals two, and our bodies don't work that way. Our bodies are so intricate and it's all connected. And with that, like 17 plus 27 equals whatever that number is. It's not one plus one equals two.
Yeah.
yeah, very much so. Um, Shoot, you made me forget what I was going to say. This is what I was going to say. I'm laying the foundation for anybody who's listening now. The things that we talk about today are probably going to be really similar or tie into our previous episode when we talked about things being all connected. So if you didn't check that out, definitely go and check that episode out as well, because we might have to even play like a coffee drinking game of like how many times we say in this episode, like connected. I feel like it's going to happen like a gazillion times. But yeah, the sense that all symptoms occur in isolation, or just like you said, one plus one equals two, that they aren't connected, I think is a big misconception. I think also, and I don't even know how to, I want to say this with like sensitivity, and it's almost like I don't know how to say the whole phrase, but I've had conversations with potential clients or even people who I work with who are actually like in my programs. And it's almost like there's a sense of not even completely understanding what a symptom is. And
Hmm.
I know that's kind of like, especially like as wellness professionals, that is one of our jobs for like education and meeting people where they are. But sometimes, you know, our foundation of knowledge and our years of experience sometimes cause us to forget the simplicities and the subtleties of things. But I've definitely had conversations where I have to remember and remind myself like people sometimes aren't aware that things mean things, that the way that our bodies are naturally um, designed to notify us that things are a little off. I talk about like the analogy with the car all the time, like the car sensors, the oil light, the check engine light, the gas light. Like those are what symptoms are. But to your point, Jessica, like a lot of people don't even realize that like headaches are a symptom of something. They just think that, oh, we just get headaches from time to time. And like that's it. There's like a disconnect that it's like a messenger. And so, yeah, sometimes it's a matter of having to have that conversation of these things don't just, you know, actually, like the conversation or the cliche about, oh, it's just because I'm getting older. No,
Oh, I hate that.
it's not because we're just getting, or, I'm going through menopause. I'm just getting older. We're just, things are just rite of
Rational.
passage. I'm like, a rite of passage that doesn't feel good, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't want to pass through that rite. Like,
Oh.
Yes.
that's probably not even like a real phrase, but you guys know what I mean. Anything you wanted to throw in there about that, Amber?
Yeah, I have a couple things coming up. So I think very much so we don't know what the symptoms are, and we also don't um this could be a whole soapbox TED talk too. We're taught to treat the symptoms and not the cause is kind of what I heard also in what Jess was saying. And I think what we all really believe in how we approach, like how we help our clients, because the symptoms are the end of the sentence, not the beginning. And we're taught um, we go to trying to make the symptom go away without knowing where the symptom came from. But the other thing that came up, hang on, I think I lost it. Where did it go? There was one more that was really important.
I've got one.
Um,
I'm gonna say it while you're thinking.
what was that, Jess?
I said I've got another one if you want me to say it while you're thinking.
Yeah, because I lost it. It's gone completely.
So I think another big one is, and as women, we do this, is we dismiss the symptoms too. And
I
so
was just about to say that.
this simple thing that comes is, I'm fatigued. Oh, I'm tired. Not did I sleep enough? Did I sleep well? Like we dismiss so many things because we need to go do X, Y, and Z. We need to push through this. We need to go do that. We need to take care of this. And it's something that has been programmed in us as we're praised for it. So we do it because we're praised for it. My brain wants to go somewhere else. Stay here. Is is and so because that feels good, we continue to do it, and we continue to have this ripple effect that the more and more and more we dismiss our body's sensor signals, whatever those things are called, on the car. I'm not the car person. I drive them fast, but I don't play with them. And that side of things, the more we do that, the more it becomes a custom for our body to be dismissed, like our doctors dismiss us sometimes. We're doing it to ourselves. And the more we dismiss our small symptoms, the easy ones for us to be able to go in and do something simple to take care of them, the louder our body has to get and the more intense those symptoms become.
That's what I'm glad you thank you because that's why that was my other point was I think we often don't even know we're having a symptom because we're so disconnected from our bodies, from the way we don't know what good feels like anymore. And so, like, I know this was like, again, I referenced this in the last session, but sometimes when I'm having a conversation with a wellness professional and they're like, "Oh, so what symptoms are you having?" I'm like, "I don't know." Like this is I've been operating like this for so long. I don't actually know what normal looks like. I don't really know how I'm supposed to feel anymore because this is normal to me. Like this we've figured out how to operate. We figured out how to tolerate. We figured out how to keep going for so long that we don't actually even know that our body's not supposed to be having that symptom. And that I think is the core of the biggest issue because we just don't know what we don't know.
Darn
Yes.
pom pom. I
Listen,
can you
I
just
almost
like
said,
cut the bottom half and just like send me the bottom half? I'll put it together and we'll have like too many pom poms. It's fine.
I'm going to get us popcorns.
yes.
So I'll let you continue, Amber, with kind of like the next like leading question, which is how do you think we got to this point? How did we get here?
Boy, um, so many things. I think the two things that pop in immediately when you say that are we created a medical system that isn't looking for the root cause because of a myriad of things, um, money, pharmaceuticals, business. Um, I think that somewhere along the way we lost nature in medical. And not we could go a lot of ways with this, so I'm trying not to drag us down a whole rabbit hole because y'all know we will. But and we can if we need to go make
We
another
love
episode.
rabbits. It's
We
fine.
love rabbits. But I feel like somewhere along the way, and I don't even know, like I don't have a timeline for this, but somewhere along the way, stop. Okay, if y'all aren't watching the video, you should know that sometimes we respond to each other's paces, and that causes chaos when we're trying to have thoughts. We really are unscripted. Um, so, damn it, Jess. We um we lost nature. Like we made wellness. We lost wellness, and we made it a symptom fixing machine. That's what I mean. We stopped really understanding how to feel our bodies, and we started letting the system, the medical system as it stands in Western culture, tell us what we're supposed to do and how we're supposed to fix it. And we kind of moved away from that holistic, natural understanding of how our bodies work.
We started outsourcing the authority.
Yeah.
I also think that out yeah I, outsourcing the authority. That's a wonderful way to say it. I also think that we tried to um, also almost like this is so not a word, but we're making it today. Technologicalize and
Yes.
industrialize
Yes.
a natural system.
Yes. That's
So
kind of what I was trying to say. You like pulled on that thread. Yes,
and
that.
so it's like in the time, if you look like, over the years, the industrial revolution, the technological revolution, all the non-natural progression, and I will limit it to the United States, to the United States of America, not even North America. I'm going to limit this to the United States. In our recent history, the progression of technology, industry building, it's all grown and it's all had this undercurrent of doing things quickly. I think over the years has been
Mm-hmm.
another characteristic. Doing things
Yeah.
more instantaneously, quickly, more automated. And I think that that is trickled over. And I'm using the word think pretty loosely because, like, it's not, it's not like my idea or anything,
Yeah.
but, just looking at the trend and what's happened, I think that same mentality trickled over into a natural system that was never intended to have those characteristics applied on it. Like we are
Yeah.
supposed to be listening to the signals of our bodies, using more naturally based solutions to heal. We're not supposed to be sterile. We're not supposed to never get sick or never have issues. We're just supposed to work within the natural system in order to resolve it. And I think it got to the point where we started trying to slap technology and innovation on it. And I always say again, I said this I think in the last episode. I think it started out with good intentions, but it didn't get
Mhm.
back to where it needs
Yeah.
to be. So
That that made me think of something else when you talked about us not being sterile. Um, I think that's another way we got here because we started trying to um, prevent, but not from a natural prevention, but from a fear. So for example, I remember when my son was born, and I feel like nowadays people, like young mothers, have this thing about people extra washing their hands and using a whole bunch of hand sanitizer. And God forbid a baby drops something on the floor, we like panic and we have to like sterilize the dang thing before you give it back to them. And believe me, I'm not advocating that you just hand babies dirty things, but we've created sort of this fear of germs and fear of dirt and fear of nature to some degree.
Yeah, hypervigilance.
When
Yeah.
Yeah, hypervigilance, yeah, so there's this extra layer of fear. I'm not like, we absolutely should, wash things, we absolutely should pay attention to what's happening, but like when my kid is 18, okay. I
He's only 10.
remember
Like,
Yeah, I remember like dropping binkies on the floor and literally just popping it in my mouth and running it around and giving it back to my kid. I didn't sterilize that. I didn't, when people came into my home when my baby was small, I didn't be like, whoa, you have to like wash your hands and use hand sanitizer and God forbid you breathe on my child for fear of that child getting sick. And I feel like our pediatrician that we saw when my son was very little was so amazing, because when we went through some really big issues around ears and sinus infections. We lived in Louisiana, so there's a lot of humidity, right? So there's always a lot of sinus, and we have a lot of sinus issues in our family. And he would get sick, and I'd take him in, and he would get sick, and I'd take him in. And she told me at one point when he was still like less than 2, she said, I know this. She would blood test him every time. And if his white cell count was not up, she wouldn't give him antibiotics. So even if he was running a fever, even if he was having symptoms, she would not immediately give him antibiotics unless she saw things in his blood work that leaned towards it. And she told me, she said, I know this is really hard because I know he's not going to get well as fast, but know that you're going to thank me when he goes into kindergarten, because his immune system is going to be able to fight off the germs of the extra kids and the extra people and the petri dish that is elementary school. And he's going to get sick less than the other kids because I'm not just giving him antibiotics every single time he runs a fever. And that actually was true. That is actually what happened. And so I think there's something to be said about that, sort of the way and that ties into what you're saying. We want it fast. We want it fixed. We have to get back to work. We don't want our kids to suffer, right? It's not necessarily coming from a bad
no,
place,
not at all.
but there's a natural way that our bodies are designed to fight off infection, and it actually trains our system to handle what's coming in the future when we're really young. And I think, to me, as you were saying that, it just brought back that as a remembrance, because I think that served my kid. My son has been like, he doesn't get sick often. Most of our like middle school, high school years, like he didn't get big. He wasn't suffering from strep every single year. He wasn't, the ear infections finally went away. We did move to a drier climate. Like, there's more to it than just that, but I saw that happen in real time, and I'm so grateful to that pediatrician, even though it was really hard when my kid was little.
So, yes, yes to all of that. I want to shift a little bit to your personal stories.
Yes.
At what point, I mean, I guess you were already talking about a personal story, but like you as individuals, at what point did you guys start kind of like thinking about the concept of symptoms differently? Or was there like a moment that kind of like shifted perspectives for you? I could tell you one of mine really quick, while you guys kind of think. It was actually like my pivot point into like my functional medicine specialty. I had taken like one functional medicine course. I don't even know how I got there, but I don't remember the reason that I took it, but I just taken like level 1. Um and I like in my mind like that was going to be it. And I had had previously like histories of abdominal pain since I was a kid, you know, just really bad abdominal pain. And, somebody would call it IBS or gastritis or whatever. By the time I was trying to like go to doctors and figure it out in my 20s. And I remember it got to the point where I was carrying Zofran and oxycodone with me at all times. Just depending, yeah, because, that solves everything. It like in retrospect, I was like, they gave me oxycodone. Like, I didn't know what it was at that time, other than like it'll help with the abdominal pain. Now in retrospect, I'm like, oh my gosh. But anyway, I had those two with me at all times because I didn't know when I was gonna have an attack, quote end quote. Um, and it got to the point where like that was controlling the symptom, and I hadn't had it in a long time, like years I think, but I always held on to medication. And I even had a nurse practitioner, a colleague of mine, who would keep like a refill prescription for me current, so I would always have like fresh meds. I wouldn't have to worry about anything being expired, even though I hadn't had symptoms in a long time because I never knew when they were going to happen again. Anyway,
Yeah.
years later, I'd had a really stressful day, and I got home, was going to bed, and it started. It started like really low. And I was like, okay, like just go to sleep, it'll be fine. And it just started like erupting. Like they just started literally, I can't think of another word, just the pain started erupting. And I was like, no, I haven't had it in years. What are we doing? Anyway, something in my mind reminded me about the functional medicine course that I took and the physical location and stuff of the vagus nerve and how it um, exits like the abdominal cavity before it like branches out. And something just told me to like massage where the exit point is. And I did. And the pain went away in like seconds. And at that point, so I was flooded with so many emotions. Relief that I felt better, disbelief that I felt better that fast, anger that I was like living a life on Zofran and oxycodone for so long, and all somebody had to tell me was rub your belly for 30 seconds right here, like all the emotions.
Yeah.
But from there, like I didn't turn back in terms
Oh,
of one, acknowledging symptoms as they come up, and two, like a deeper understanding of like how to work with the body in order to like naturally resolve them. So that was kind of like my big shift. And yeah, since then, yeah, nothing. So anything similar for like you guys?
Yeah, mine is interesting. So I'm rare in many facets, and I don't say that humbly, or I say that humbly. I say it with annoyance because I do things differently, and I have to do things differently. And so I'm part of like 3% of the world that most medication does not work for them. And so like I could take two Vicodin and literally nothing happens. I've had laughing gas put on to do dental work. Laughing gas doesn't affect me. Like literally, it's nuts. And so I have had to, let's say the word endure symptoms my whole life. And it's made me be more cognizant of symptoms my whole life. I will not say I have been great at listening to them my whole life. I have lots of cases to contradict that. But one of the big ones for me was similar like gut issues that I used to have. So I had a growing up of processed foods. And I didn't know that processed foods were processed foods. I just thought it was food because that's what I grew up with. And from the ages of about 17 to 27, I had massive episodes multiple times a week of just dry heaving bile. And like I could not keep food down. And no matter how hard I tried, and no matter what I changed in the way I was eating, and I was in the hospital a lot, trying to figure out what was going on. I had times where I like was at work and I lose my strength because I used to work at Old Chicago. If anybody knows what that restaurant is, it's like 110 beers on tap. You gotta hold the tray above your head with the like massive mugs. I don't know if they still do that. That might be like um, what is that called? Where they make your, I don't know the words. Um, Bad things. That's probably not like that's abuse or something at this point. Um, but I couldn't function, and like I collapsed. My body wouldn't function. I'm like turning yellow or gray or whatever the color it is that you turn. You don't feel well, and I was like something is legit wrong. And so we go into these more in-depth exams. They're doing purple colors through my system to like with a big old thing above me. I don't know what any of these machines are. And like checking what all the stuff is. And I mean, it was probably another 3 years of going through these very intense processes to figure out what was going on. They're like, well, your gallbladder's not bad enough for this to be it. Your pancreas isn't bad enough for this to be your symptoms. This isn't bad enough for this to be your symptom. And I'm like, well, something clearly is bad because like this isn't normal. And finally, like towards, I think I was probably 26. So over a decade ago, um, a doctor says to me, we're just going to do exploratory surgery. And I go, excuse me? Those two words literally don't go together. No, we are not doing exploratory surgery. How about I go do some exploratory research and I will figure it out myself because clearly you guys aren't doing your job. And at that point, I don't know why it took someone using the words together, exploratory surgery, for me to do the deep dive. But I went into the deep dive and learned about processed foods and learned about GMOs and learned about whole food diets and learned about all these things that should be taught and should be a very common understanding. And at that point, so it was 6 months of switching my foods over to no longer processed foods. I went like full force and I only ate organic foods, only did whole food, like cooking in my kitchen. And within 6 months, my symptoms disappeared and never came back again. And it was 10 years of dealing with that. And I was like, am I magic? What just happened? Like, how did I fix this? And the doctors didn't fix it. No one talked to me about diet. All they said is eat a low fat diet. And I was like, well, I don't really eat a lot of fat. Like, I don't eat a lot of fried food or any of these kinds of things. And we weren't taught those things. And so from that point, anytime I had massive whatever it was, I have a natural distrust in the medical system because of my experiences that I just naturally deep dive into things and figure it out and become the person I am to help the other people that I help because of that. But it all stemmed from kind of similar to what you're talking about as well. Yeah.
That's a like when you really like just I mean, I know this part of your story, but like still when I hear it, when you hear it kind of all just put together that way, like wow. And it's I also feel a lot of sadness in the fact that so many people are do have some similarity or not. So for me, um I don't know that I could put my finger on a defining moment because the truth is similar to Jess. I don't know that I'm in the 3%, but I'm highly, highly sensitive to medications. So I now tell um, medical practitioners that I'm allergic to codeine because I promise you, I've had too many surgeries to for the age that I'm at, and they used to give me codeine while I was out, and I'd wake up puking, and nobody could explain why. So I would wake up from anesthesia throwing up, and it inevitably was because they had given me some form of codeine IV while I was under to try to keep the pain from coming. And instead, I'm now dealing with this extra
And now we have
nonsense.
pain and vomiting. Great.
Right. Yes. I can even remember you even helped me trigger or bring up a memory. I had my wisdom teeth taken out when I was 18, and they gave me Valium.
It's fine.
My mom is still traumatized from this experience because, she was like in those days, like she was in the room. They literally had to, I don't remember this, thank goodness, but they had to stop what they were doing, sit me up to allow me to vomit, and then put me back to finish this procedure.
That's disgusting.
Isn't that disgusting? I was so sick. I was 18.
That's
And like over the years, things like that kept happening. Like I'm highly sensitive to medications. I have weird opposite effects. Medications that like normally spin people up, like Sudafed, make me sleepy. Like medications that do like that have the common effect on other people have a weird effect on me. I will endure more pain over taking any type of a pain reliever, like the heavy duty pain relievers, because my body does not tolerate it well. And if it does take the edge off the pain, it's the other side effects are going to be so much worse for me that it's not worth it in the long run. And so what happened for me over the years is I just like I would go seek support and that would happen and then they would look at me like well, we don't know what's wrong with you. And so it felt like I was being, we have the word now, like I felt like I was being gaslit for years by the medical providers because and I would even tell. So then I would go and I'd have surgeries or have things scheduled and I'd tell the anesthesiologist, I'm telling you right now, if you aren't like give me extra Zofran or whatever you're given for nausea, like this is what you need to do if you don't want me to wake up puking. And they wouldn't listen. They would like oh it can't be that bad. No, I'm not talking I wake up nauseous. I wake up violently ill. And it got to the point where I was like, y'all, I'm allergic to codeine. Stop giving me this crap. But like to come back to the point, for years, and I don't think until recently, if I had to put like an actual point on it, it was probably meeting Jess, to be honest, that helped me start really um looking at, oh no, I'm gonna cry. We're not doing that today. That had me start really going, like there's nothing wrong with me, but like there like things are off. Like this is not working. And this sort of disassociated, disconnected, it's fine, I'll deal with it feeling isn't normal, isn't how we're supposed to live our lives. Because I would go and they'd run the tests and they'd be like, so fatigue, like for sure, fatigue has been a major, fatigue and headaches are probably the two, if I was gonna put a finger on a symptom for me for most of my adult life. And I would go and they would do, and I can remember I went to multiple different doctors and they ran all the reports and they even were looking at my hormones long before I was in like a perimenopause window, like in my early 30s. And I finally even had one doctor that came back and was like, you must have some sort of myalgia, not fibromyalgia, but some sort of myalgia. And I was like, okay, great. What do we do about that? Because I don't want to take a bunch of experimental medication. Like, what does that mean? And he never could, like, they never could give me any explanation or reason. And so I just started going, I guess this is just how I live. I guess this is just what life looks like. And moved on and was like, I'll deal with that. I'll sleep extra. I'll push through. I'll do the things. Um, and it wasn't until I really started, I would say within the last couple of years, that I really started going, oh, this is not okay. Like this is not normal. And there are people who can help me. There are people who are willing to look at this differently. And it took me a long time. I'm still sort of working through, how do I find the right doctors? How do I go have the right conversations? How do I even get in tune in my own body with what's really happening day to day? So for me, it's been this weird, like, middle numbness in a way of, I just deal with this. I just get headaches. I'm just tired and I still do what needs to be done. I'm the mom. I still make the food. I still show up. I still make sure everyone has what they need. I still, you know, have 100-degree fever and I'm in the kitchen making dinner, right? Like those types of things, because it's just what we do. It's not even because that's what's expected of me by my family a lot of times. It's because I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I'm fine. It's fine. I'm used to this. I have to literally have extreme symptoms before my system starts to register that something is off. Before I start going, maybe I need to see the doctor. Maybe I need to start asking.
And that is likely the story or something in there probably resonates with a lot of people or who are hearing this. So as we kind of like wrap things up a little bit, let's pivot to solutions. So as wellness practitioners, like, how do you guys support someone in terms of acknowledging, maybe even educating about symptoms, um, presenting solutions while still like honoring where they may be, in their thought process about how they deal with symptoms and things like that. And I'm going to piggyback that with, if someone, for anybody who's listening now or listening at any point to this episode, where would you recommend people starting? A lot of times, like, they're listening and they're like, I hear this, I'm looking for a solution, like, where and how do I start? Anybody?
Like, who knows? Who knows? For those of you who are listening and not watching. God, that's so many, it's so multifaceted. So I'm gonna go backwards. Where do you start? You start by awareness. You start by acknowledging your body. You start by not dismissing when something comes up, and you start by saying, body, I hear you. I feel you in this moment. What is it that you need? And listen to what your body needs. As women, we have a beautiful, beautiful realm of intuition. And even if that need is like the quietest whisper, it's going to tell you what it needs. I need rest. Go drink some protein. Go have a sandwich. Whatever it is. Go, whatever it is. Like, it's going to tell you. You just have to get quiet enough to hear it. That is the very first thing. And for those of you who are like, yeah, it's too loud, I can't hear shit. Like, we got you too. That's where you find practitioners like us or people who are similar to us near you. If you want to see people in person and you aren't in Vegas or Arizona, you're in Phoenix?
I am, but I run a fully virtual clinic. So, like, yeah. I think like 5% of my clients are in Phoenix and everybody else is everywhere else.
Yeah, same. But for the people who want someone in person is just where I'm saying that. Like, I mean, we're in person right now, but we're not. And so for those of you who find practitioners who truly actually care and interview them, like, just because you go see someone doesn't mean that person is your person. And that person is potentially not your person more often than not. And it's okay to see multiple people. And I know the unfortunate circumstance of the system and everything being expensive. Sometimes it's not easy to go see multiple doctors and multiple practitioners and multiple people. So even starting from a place of going to that person, especially if they're a virtual person, they probably have a lot of online educational materials or blogs or something along the line, and start from whatever their free entry point is. Whether it's like I have workbooks on my page where people can go in and like actually be guided like I'm guiding them, but it's a workbook and I'm not in front of them. Or some of us have group programs and you can come in from a group entry point that is at a lower entry point if you can't afford the one-on-one entry points, and go from a place of curiosity and a place of saying, this is what's happening. Like, what do I do? Rather than a place of defensiveness, because we're not judging you. We have, we do it too. Like, we're not on pedestals over here. We have all been through our own shit too. We're probably still in it, to just be really true. And there's always something. And so if you can come in and say, I don't really know what's going on with me, but I know I feel off. Where do I even start? Us having a chat with you is where you start, or someone else. Like, yes, I'm going to promote us because it's us, but like, if you're not feeling connected with any of us, that's okay too. Find someone you do feel connected with and figure out what the entry point is with them, whether it's their TikToks or their whatever it is, their YouTubes or their podcast or their whatever. There's a lot of free ways to start hearing how to get support. And then you just have to say, I am worthy of support. I am worthy of saying I'm not okay and hearing how to be helped. Because that is one thing I hear so much, is similar to Amber in your story. Well, this is just how it is. This is just normal for me. This is just what life is like. I'm just aging. I'm just in perimenopause. I'm just in menopause. There is no I'm just any of that. Like, erase that shit from your brain, because that is conditioning that it is time to deprogram.
Yeah.
It is time to listen to what your body needs and hear my words when I mean this with every ounce of every bit of heart I have. And I promise you, it's a fucking massive heart. You deserve help. You are worthy of help. And it's really hard as women for us to receive help. But I promise you, you are worthy and deserving of receiving the help that you need.
Yeah. Whoa. How does one follow that? No, everything, absolutely, hands down, everything that Jess said. What I'll add to that, because I don't need to belabor the point, because could say all of the same things. I want to encourage you to do two things. One, start talking about it to the people in your life, particularly the other women. If you're a woman watching this, and you know, if you're a man, maybe other men. Like, start talking to the other people in your life about this, because I almost guarantee you feel alone because we don't talk about these things. And it was eye-opening to me when all of a sudden I was saying what I was experiencing, and other women were like, oh yeah, me too. And that changed everything for me, because I really did. I thought this was normal. I'm like, whatever, I guess this is just how, like everyone must deal with this. It's, normal. So start talking, like start seeing, start opening the doors, because they might also already have resources that they're more than willing to share, but they haven't because they also feel alone. So have the conversation, start the conversation, say the thing, and see what happens. Second, start small. I am a lifelong overachiever, need to do all the things, know all the steps, know how to get all the way to the finish line, and I'm going to do it. And in my body health wellness journey, even my mental wellness journey, I've had to really pull back on that and say, if movement is important to me right now, and today means I only get 2 minutes of walking, 5 minutes of walking, that is enough. If today I make one different decision about eating protein over processed carbs out of my pantry, because I let myself go too long without eating and I'm crashing, and instead I have a protein shake or some chicken over the Cheez-Its in my pantry because, listen, I really like Cheez-Its. But I know my body needs protein. That is enough. It's not an all or nothing thing. It's not an overnight fix. It is not one big gesture that is going to solve this. It is the little agreements that you make with yourself and keep, and they can be as small as they need to be for you to move and to get out of a place of, this is just what I do, this is just how I live, this is just how I'm going to feel forever, into the smallest, minute movement forward. Because every movement forward is forward. Yeah, I'll leave it there. Alexis, I also really want to make sure you share because you are a licensed practitioner, right? So I want to hear what you have to say about this as well.
I was just going to wrap up with a little bit of a practical approach. I know a
Perfect.
lot of people look to social media for advice and recommendations, whatever the word is. I will say this. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I do a lot of education on social media. Mostly you'll find me on Instagram and I have a Facebook page. When you're looking for, again, whatever the word is, advice, solutions, if you're looking for a practitioner and you're using social media to do it, I will say this one thing. Don't look for someone else's story to be your solution. And I know that there are people who have found a solution that has worked for them and they want to shout it from the rooftops because they believe that it will help everybody. And I think that comes from a good place. But without knowing your context and knowing what your specific body needs, there can be a lot of fatigue and exhaustion emotionally, physically, looking and working with solutions that don't take your personal context into account. I'm getting a little long-winded, so I'm gonna kind of get back to the thing. I would say look for someone who's talking about who links understanding what's going on in your body before presenting a solution or before making a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm gonna kind of speak a little with strong words. I try not to, but like don't go for a product. If somebody's promoting a product, a specific solution, I'm not saying that this product is bad or that it won't work, but that's gonna lose and take away like your context and your special case. So you're not exactly sure if that's gonna help you. Don't rely on somebody else's success story to think that it'll be successful for you too as well. Look for practitioners who are communicating education, who are communicating, hey, have you considered this? Have you thought about this? Did you know that these two things are related? And who are saying things like, this is what you need to know to get the relief that you're looking for. This might be your missing link. If you don't know this, this may be the reason why you haven't, gotten over the hump. Those are the type of people that you probably want to connect with and reach out to and ask more questions. So I hope that brings a little bit of a practical way when you're talking about getting started and looking at people.
Yeah, I'm going to piggyback on that because I hear, and Alexis, you probably hear this a lot from your clients as well, is the thorough in-depth intake that a practitioner who really is your practitioner is going to do is going to feel intense. It's going to feel like your doctors aren't doing this. And what is happening? Why do you need all this information when my doctors don't even need this information? Well, boo, you're seeing me because your doctor ain't helping you, right? So like listen to that. And the amount of labs or whatever the case it is that we dive into, trust that we're diving into it because we need to see a full spectrum of what is happening inside your body. We're going to ask your symptoms. We're going to have you speak to us, but we need to see from a functional perspective what is truly happening in your body so we can support that from science and we can support that from root cause, and we can support that from a whole body spectrum to be able to dive into what is truly happening to you, because you are unique. Your body is unique, and your adaptations and your experience and your lived everything you've been through is unique to you and only you. And if this is a one size fits all approach, have some questions.
Great. And on that, we're going to wrap it up for this episode of Wellness Unscripted. Do two things for us, guys. If you felt seen, understood, if anything in this message resonated with you, either click the subscribe button on YouTube or click your button on your podcast distributor to make sure that you get notifications for our next episode. And number two, share this with somebody else who needs to hear the message. We'll be back soon with more truth, more fun, more depth, and more whole person wellness, guys. Catch you on the next episode.